What's up everyone, John from Beyond ARTV. It's time for the resurrection of 7 on Sunday, a countdown series where I talk about 7 of my favorite things. I go into detail about something I'm loving or something that you guys have requested. Today I'm returning with 7 bands that I love from Britain. Britain doesn't just apply to one area. In fact, I had to do a little bit of research myself, primarily apparently 2 different islands, and it's a little bit complicated. England, Scotland, and I went in and kind of charted and mapped out 7 different territories. I picked bands that were from really all over the place. I didn't do 2 bands that were from the same origin story, if you will. Before we get into the countdown, a brief shout out to our sponsor, Rabbit. Rabbit is an app that's all about bringing people together. You may have seen me talking about it on my main channel, ARTV, and it's actually an app that lets you watch and listen to things in sync with up to 25 friends at a time. It's not just on mobile. You're thinking, oh, just what if I don't have an iPhone or what if I don't have an Android? You can actually do this on your laptop or desktop as well. And the coolest thing about it, I think, if you're just in a long distance relationship, if you have friends that are overseas, like in the UK or in Canada or just across the country in the United States, wherever you may be, Rabbit actually allows you to listen to music on Spotify, iHeartRadio, in sync at the same time, or watch something on Netflix, some of your favorite shows, and you don't have to worry about texting your friend and oh, I'm at the 2-minute mark, okay, hit play now. Rabbit actually takes care of that for you, and I actually tried it out for myself. Works really, really well. It's actually a cool feature, and I've actually genuinely been using the app myself. I think a lot of you guys will enjoy it. Just wanted to remind you that I am running that contest. If you download the app, top link in the description down below, add me, and of course, comment your username down below. I will be picking 3 of you guys to actually hang out with me for a little bit, do a little chat, listen to some music, watch some Netflix, whatever you guys want to do. I'll hang out for about 15 minutes. I'll be picking those 3 winners about a week from now. So make sure you download the app, comment your username down below, and I'll be selecting 3 of you to win.
Tell me you'll meet me. Tell me you'll keep me. Tell me you'll meet me. Will you meet me more than halfway?
Figured I'd get the obvious choice out of the way first. You guys know I'm a huge CHVRCHES fan, love their synth pop stylings. They're out of Scotland, Glasgow, Scotland to be more specific, and I'm so sorry if I butcher some of these names of the origin countries or cities, and I'm sure there's viewers from the UK that are probably gonna have me by the throat, but please, I mean no harm. CHVRCHES wowed me with their debut, The Bones of What You Believe. Loved this record and just the 80s throwbacks feels that I was getting from that. And then they tackled the 80s in a completely new way with their follow-up record that came out last fall, Every Open Eye, which really just set the bar even higher. They make this awesome hybrid of pop music and electronic music, and it just has this nostalgic feel to it, but there's so much passion and emotion in lead singer Lauren Mayberry's voice. If you've never checked these guys out, don't sleep on them any longer. I've been a Muse fan for over a decade now, got into them with their album Black Holes and Revelations, went back and picked up records like Absolution, even Origin of Symmetry, and it was just a love that just kept blossoming and growing. I think that Muse are special to me because they always find a way to mix things up with their sound. It started off as space rock and progressive rock, and then transitioned into more symphonic rock with albums like The Resistance, which I wasn't as huge on, but they definitely did grow on me over time. They're just so explosive in their sound. And Matthew Bellamy, the lead singer of this band, has a voice like none other. He hits these high octaves, he gets it down low, and the guitars and the bass riffs on this band are just out of this world good. Muse are one of those bands that I feel like even people who don't really like the genre or don't get into that much rock, they can at least appreciate a few songs. They have more electronic stuff like on The Second Law, where they really experimented with their sound, and then they just go back to straight out rocking on albums like Drones. There's something for everyone.
And please, say to me, you let me hold your hand. You let me hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand.
There's a shadow hanging over me. The Beatles influenced so many different people over the years. Obviously, you guys know the Beatles. I don't know of anybody that's never known who they were whenever I said that, so I'm not going to sit here and explain to you the origins of this Liverpool band. Liverpool, England saw the uprising of the British invasion. Other bands started coming through, but the Beatles really were at the forefront there, going on like the Ed Sullivan Show, and then slowly just working their way into the hearts of so many different people over the years. Their albums like Help, the White Album, just saw so many transitions in their sound and the makeup of this band. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George, Ringo, just all of the counterparts of this band that actually made them work. I think that their music is timeless and special, and there's people out there that just say, the Beatles weren't so great, they're just so overrated. I admit that they're a little bit oversaturated in the market, but at the end of the day, you really can't take away at the core of what the Beatles were all about. They were about reinvigorating sound, pushing things out that really hadn't been done before. They were really the initial movement of the band that like everybody flocked to and fangirled over. You see bands like One Direction or boy bands like Backstreet Boys or NSYNC, and you see how the fans were with them. I think that if Twitter and Facebook and everything had existed back in the day, people would have gone just as crazy for the Beatles if they'd had the opportunity for. Even though they were an actual band that wrote all of their own songs, played all their own instruments, it was just a different time period and setting. And I don't know, I think the Beatles deserve to be respected for all time.
Sally can wait. She knows it's too late as we're walking on by. Her soul slides away.
Hailing from Manchester, England, the next on my list are Oasis, a band that I've always really enjoyed over the years. I can't say that I'm super familiar with all of their works, but they're just a band that I really find myself coming back to, especially whenever I'm just kind of like looking to lift my moods. I always feel like they have like a good vibe going on. Really love their album, What's the Story, Morning Glory. I think that's the one that a lot of people know, and I definitely do want to dive further into their discography. I mean, I got into them off of the song Lila, oddly enough, off of that 2005 record, and the band split shortly after, unfortunately, and just don't seem like they're gonna get back together. The Gallagher brothers, butting heads, it's just, they're very outspoken people, and I don't see that ever working or really firing on all cylinders again. Maybe if they need enough money someday, they'll actually get back together, fingers crossed, because I'd love to see them live. I know that's totally for the wrong reasons, but Oasis played like kind of like rock and alternative music. What's the Story, Morning Glory is one of those records that I definitely recommend. It's just one of those counterpieces of the 90s that really explains, I feel like, what was going on in the genre and just the world of music at the time. They're very heartfelt songs, great tracks like Don't Look Back in Anger, one of my favorite Oasis tracks right there. Maybe I will do an episode on my favorite Oasis songs at some point.
I never had a plan of where I'm headed. Struggle to keep a job and make ends meet. End up wasting hours on daytime TV. 'Cause no one in this town will hire me.
I had to Google exactly what milk teeth were because I wasn't sure what was a milk tooth, and apparently it's like baby teeth, like losing them and like the new tooth that's coming in and pushing the old one out. It's an awkward phase in your life. If you remember being a kid and having all these holes in your face, essentially, yeah, that's where milk teeth got their name. They're out of England, of course, once again, Stroud, England, to be more specific, putting that city on the map. I'd never really heard of Stroud, England before, and they're a smaller band, haven't really blown up yet. I don't know that they ever will hit the popularity levels of some of these other bands that I've been talking about, but I think they're really interesting and kind of deserve a shout out. I got into them after hearing that a couple of friends saw them live, really wanted to check out their album, and I'm loving their tracks like Swear Jar Again and Burger Drop. It just comes through with this kind of like hard alternative feel, and some of the songs do feature screaming on their album that dropped in January, and I don't really care for the male screamer as much. What I really enjoy here is the female vocalist. I think that she has a really talented and solid voice. Remind me of some other bands that I really enjoy, and kind of the rock and like pop punk scene almost, although this music does hit with a little bit more intensity sometimes. Bands like Mixtapes, where they kind of rotate the male and female vocals. This is another one of those bands that I think is worth checking out.
I let it go, 'cause I won't see you later when we're not allowed to talk it out. I said I'd go, put myself on the show, but I'm still trying to figure it out. I broke my shoe, take the fell on you, but you didn't know I planned it out.
Whenever I first talked about this band in 2013, they weren't really on the map that much, and I feel like they've blown up a lot since then. I mean, they've had hit songs like Out of the Black, Come On Over, Figure It Out. It's stacked with singles right off the bat, and even like tracks like Little Monster, I think, got a video as well. And they just really took off. I've seen them hanging out with a lot of famous people, and apparently LP2 is on the way. I cannot wait. Heard their song Where Are You Now from the HBO series Vinyl soundtrack. Really, really good once again. They just come through with this hard-hitting, gritty rock sound. And the best part about this band that's from actually Brighton, East Sussex, England, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. The best thing about them is that it's only 2 members. It's a duo, and they produce such a monstrous sound. It's just huge what they can accomplish with just a bassist and a drummer. These bass riffs are just pummeling at parts on some of these songs, and I love like Blood on My Hands, just like the dark feel that they have there, and then the more upbeat tracks like Little Monster, the awesome riffage going on there, and just all throughout this record, I think it was stacked with just great song after great song after great song, and tracks like Figure It Out, if you're looking to really release some anger or even Out of the Black, you need these tracks in your life. You guys have no idea how elated I was to finally see these guys live in Pittsburgh about a month ago. It was just a phenomenal show. Wolf Alice, if you follow either of my channels, you probably know how much I've praised them, loved them. I hate that I wasn't able to get an interview with them. The label shot me down pretty quick, and I feel like I gave them a lot of exposure here in the US, considering I put them at #1 on my best albums of the year list, best songs of the year's list for Your Love's Whore last year, but hey, I'm not gonna be salty about it. Wolf Alice didn't make the decision themselves. Label politics, I guess I get it, but I don't really, considering, you know, an interview would just be more exposure. But anyways, on to the music itself. Wolf Alice have like this nice 90s kind of grungy feel going on with them, and I feel like they mixed that with some modern alternative tricks. I mean, songs like Bros, just absolute alternative anthem. And then you've got your more electronic elements on tracks like Silk. I think that they have a nice blend here and cover a little bit of everything. And the lead singer, Ellie Rossell, just has this incredible voice that can switch from like manic and like a few screams or like weird laughter or something totally off kilter back into this kind of cooing voice that really just hits the eardrum in the absolute right way. Monsters live, I will say that right now. Some of the tracks on this record are huge, big, and invigorating, like Giant Peach, or even the end of like Swallowtail, and yeah, they hit that much harder live. I have to recommend that you guys go see them if they're coming to a town near you. I hope you guys enjoyed my video on 7 of my favorite British bands. If you'd like to see me do a follow-up video to this at some point, yeah, I might do so. Let me know in the comments section, or if you'd like to see me do it with another country. I'll return next week with another episode of 7 on Sunday. Don't forget to download the app Rabbit. It's linked in the description down below, should be the top link there, and of course, comment your username once you download it, and I'll be picking 3 of you guys about a week from now, and we'll see. Hopefully, we'll be hanging out, listen to some music, watch some Netflix, whatever you guys are up for. Thanks for watching this video, hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, because friends don't let friends go unsubscribed. Other than that, I'll see you very soon right here on Beyond ARTV.